Hey Southwest managers, this is Amy here, of course. You probably knew that, but I am here to share with you some ideas about conference attendance. It's so important. One of my strengths when I was a DM for all those years was taking a ton of people to every conference. And it's not like, and by the way, when I say a ton, if you're an office that has 100 reps on your active rep list and you take 40 versus an office that has 30 reps and they take 28, well, the office of 28 actually did a better job. So when I say a ton of reps, let's actually take that to mean the highest percentage of people on your team. I don't care if your team's only 10 people, then you should be taking 8 to 10 people to that conference. Like your goal, I've been talking to managers this week and I'm asking what's your goal for SC1 attendance, and it surprises me when I hear things like, well, I have 30 on my team so I want to take 20, or I have 50 on my team so maybe 35. And I'm like, if you have 50 on your team, your goal should be to take 50, and it's so important. So I wanted to share this video with you guys today, and hopefully that it helps you have some ideas on getting higher conference attendance. I truly believe that conferences are one of the best tools we have in our business. When I talk to FSMs and CSPs, which is very often, by the way, because you guys know I'm usually on the CSP trips, I'm going to RDC, I'm running our elite programs, FSM Elite, CSP Elite in the region, so I'm talking to these guys a lot. And when I'm putting talks together, I don't know how many times I've asked these guys, what made the difference in your development, so that I can share with other reps or share with you what to do to develop those CSPs and FSMs. And when I say what made the biggest difference in your development, mostly I hear two things. More than anything else, I hear two things, and that is conferences and keeping in touch with other FSMs and CSPs. Which, by the way, even as a manager myself, and people try to give me credit for developing Josh, and I did train and interview Josh and develop him as a newer rep, but when he got to a certain level, like, I didn't develop Josh further than that. I mean, he started working with other FSMs and CSPs, and that's what really developed him to the level he's at today. And it's funny because conference attendance is always one of the answers, and keeping in touch with CSPs and FSMs, but the CSPs and FSMs they keep in touch with are usually people they met at conferences. It's so important. So you have to get everybody there. You have to look at conferences like you're either going to get them there or they're not going to do as well in this business. Like, this is one of the keys. This is almost like they have to go to 3 days of training. They have to do day 2. If they don't get that value talk, they don't know how to believe in CUTCO as well. You have to get them to conferences to believe in this business if you want them to move forward. It's one of your biggest tools, absolutely. So you got to get them there. So let's talk about some ideas. One is, it's expected. Like, you expect them to go. So when you have that talk with someone, when you're on a PC with them and you're talking about conferences, it's not like, hey, do you want to go? And here it's pretty cool. And then when they're like, oh, and you're like, yeah, that's okay. No. Like, they're expected to go. In my office, the only reason someone did not go to a conference is if they had a scheduled conflict that absolutely could not be changed, like a wedding or whatever. It's not like something they have planned that could be changed to another time. It's like could not be changed. And then, okay, then maybe they can't go. But other than that, everybody else goes. It's so, so important. Build excitement. Talk about how it's going to be fun. And don't build it as like, you don't want it to be unprofessional. It's fun because you get to know your team better, where there's team competition, the push week, all that kind of stuff. Just even the drive. I always really built up the drive to the conference. It's like a road trip and all this kind of stuff. You get to know everybody better. I used to tell people, if you don't go, you're going to get that person that, everybody else comes back and they're like this group of friends now because they all went to this event together, got to know each other better, and now you feel like an outsider, and we don't want you to feel like that. We don't want to make you feel like that, but you're going to feel like that because you're going to make that one person that didn't go to the party, and everybody's like, oh my God, can you believe what happened at that party? And you have no idea what they're talking about. Okay? You have to go because you want to be a part of that team and a part of what's so special. And build the value in it. Make sure you're sharing. They're going to get so much good information. In fact, they're going to come back and their ratios are going to go up. They're either going to get more leads or get better setup ratios on the phone or get a higher average order or a higher sales ratio. Like, it's going to happen. You can share stories of people that went to conferences and implemented information and saw results right away. I'm trying to remember who I was talking to last week. It was one of the FSMs that talks about every time they get back from a conference, their next appointment's always like a homemaker sale. I think it was Alexis out of Dallas, but she's like, every conference it's always a homemaker sale, next demo. You can share that kind of information. Talk about the free product they get. If they're getting a free CUTCO product for going, make sure that you're really building that up, and also how having that in their sample kit is going to make a huge difference in sales, because the more product you carry, the more you sell. It's exactly why our CSPs all pretty much carry everything that we make. 80-pound sample kits. It's crazy. You talk about how fun the push week competition is going to be, how they get the chance to win a order, even to be recognized, or all that kind of stuff, or how they can cheer for their team. Talk about the team slogan that you're going to yell out. You know, make sure that you guys are getting those all prepared and building excitement for it. Talk about how push week competition isn't just about the people on stage. It's about which team can be most excited for their members that are on stage. As much of a competition as it is on stage, it's the same off stage with the people that are competing with each other for who can cheer the loudest for their teammates. It's awesome. Talk about how the workshops at different levels. Many of the conferences are going to have breakouts where, you know, if it's not their first conference, they might be able to break out to a higher level workshop. So that's pretty exciting when they get to go to a higher level. When it comes to the money, by the way, you have to find a way. Think about it this way. You know, they used to have to put a deposit down for sample kits, so $150. So every rep came up with $150 that worked with us, and they no longer have to do that. So asking them for this small investment for the conference is like nothing. It's nothing compared to what they used to have to put down even to work here. So if they could come up with $150 back then, they can come up with 30 or 40 or 60 or whatever it is now. Also, you know, you talk about it like it's the sample kit in the way that you give them all these ideas. Like if they're sitting in front of me and they're telling me they can't afford it, I'm like, dude, that's the reason you have to go, because you're going to get so much information. You're going to do so much better at this. You're going to have so much more money. But also, you talk about it just like it would be the sample kit. Like, who can you borrow it from? Could you sell the product you're going to get if you're getting a product? Could you sell that to someone now ahead of time and say, I'll bring it to you because I'm getting it at the conference, and take the cash and pay for the conference? Give it to the manager, have the manager charge the account, whatever. Talk about, sell video games. It's worth it. I'm telling my reps, if you have to sell CDs or video games or whatever to make the money to go, it is worth it. Even if you have to take it to a pawn shop and get the money, go to the conference, make more because of the conference, and go back and buy it back from the pawn shop, it's worth it. You have to go because you're going to totally miss out, and it's going to make a huge difference in your development by going. So the money issue is borrow it, sell something, whatever you have to do. Give them your personal guarantee. I gave all of my reps my personal guarantee, which is if you go to this conference and you don't feel, like after you go, if you don't feel it was worth it completely, I will pay you back. I will give you the money back. And I said that to every single person, and I have never in all my years had a single person ask me to pay them back. Because once they get there, they get it. They know that it was totally worth it. I mean, one of the FSMs last week told me that they love when conferences come around because they need them, because it always reinvigorates them. Even our top people like these conferences because even at that level, they still go to get reinvigorated to continue working. So you have to. Get your reps involved. Anybody that's been to a division meeting, a conference, any top rep, make sure you're having them put the pressure on other people. Like, dude, you have to go. Like, are you going to the conference? Okay, good. Or you're not? You're not? What? Are you crazy? And make sure they're talking about it even when you're not around. Make sure that they're putting on the pressure. If you haven't done a PC with every single person on your team yet to get them signed up to go, make sure that you do those PCs to get them signed up to go, one-on-one. Get assistants involved, whatever you need to do. I know you guys are busy. Get the PCs done so that you can get them signed up. PDI is not generally enough. You want to get their commitment and then reconfirm their commitment again and again. Again, only schedule conflicts I would let not go if they couldn't change it. I would go so far, and I said this on the QRT I'm going to send out today to reps, but I would go so far as to say, as a rep, if you're choosing not to go, honestly, I feel like you're choosing not to do well in this business, because it is one of the biggest resources you have for improvement in our business. So if you're choosing not to utilize it, it's like you're just choosing not to get better. That's crazy. I know you have goals. Tell them you're important to me. I want to help you hit your goals. I want you to be a big part of this team. I love having you around. I want you to go to this conference because it's going to make a big difference. I know you don't know that now, but you will once you go. And you can have other reps share their examples of, that they didn't really want to go and then they went, and how much they're glad that they went. Make sure they know they're going to regret it if they don't go. Let them know that it's not good enough to get someone else's notes. It's just like the telephone game. Yeah, you could say, well, so-and-so will just share their notes with me, but it's just like the telephone game. It never comes back exactly the same. It's better to get it from the source, from the speaker. And any questions you have can be answered at that time. If you have questions for the person sharing the notes, they won't necessarily have the answers for you. It's better to be at the event and talk to the speaker and have any questions that you have answered there. And then, of course, you can talk to people, get to know them, exchange numbers, have accountability partners, all that stuff about getting to know other people and keeping in touch and that kind of stuff. Okay? So make sure you guys find a way. You should be getting 100% of your team there, really is your goal, is what it should be. And then if there's some schedule conflicts, then fine. As a manager, if I could afford it, I would go so far as to, not have someone sign up and just walk in and again tell them afterwards if they couldn't afford it that, whatever, I'll find a way to pay for it. I really don't care. The point is they have to go. Like, it's that important. So make sure you're sharing that. Make sure you're building the value. Make sure you're getting them signed up right away, you guys. The earlier they sign up on Cola, the better. Some of you have payment options and different things. So get them to Vector Connect. Get them signed up. Do the PCs. Call me if you have any questions. It's super important. Get them there. You may lose them, you guys. It's important. Get them to these events. It's one of the best resources. Have an awesome day.